Welcome to Peter's Primacy, a place of great significance in the life of the Apostle Peter in the early Christian community. Let's embark on a journey to this sacred site where the faith of Peter and his disciples were tested and miracles unfolded. Nestled on the tranquil shores of the Sea of Galilee, Peter's Primacy is believed to be the place where Jesus reaffirmed Peter's role as the rock upon which he would build his church. Here, on this very rock, Jesus asked Peter 3 times, "Do you love me?" symbolizing the restoration of Peter's faith and his call to lead the disciples. As we stand in this hallowed space, we are reminded of the immense responsibility entrusted to Peter and the enduring legacy of his primacy in the Christian faith. The Sea of Galilee, where Peter and his fellow disciples were called to be fishers of men, serves as a backdrop to this significant moment in biblical history. Luke 5, verses 4 through 11 says, "When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, 'Put out into deep water, and let down the nets for a catch.' Simon answered, 'Master, we've worked hard all night, and haven't caught anything. But because you say so, I will let down the nets.' When they had done so, they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break. So they signaled their partners in the other boat to come and help them. And they came and filled both boats so full that they began to sink. When Simon Peter saw this, he fell at Jesus' knees and said, 'Go away from me, Lord, I am a sinful man.' For he and his companions were astonished at the catch of fish they had taken. And so were James and John, the sons of Zebedee, Simon's partners. Then Jesus said to Simon, 'Don't be afraid. From now on, you will fish for people.' So they pulled their boats up on the shore and left everything and followed him." Visitors from around the world come to Peter's Primacy to reflect, pray, and deepen their connection to the teachings of Jesus in the early Christian community. The waters of the Sea of Galilee hold another remarkable event, Peter's walk on water. When the disciples found themselves in a storm, Jesus came to them, walking on water. We find the story in Matthew 14, verses 22 to 33. Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat, go on ahead of him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. Later that night, he was alone there, and the boat was already a considerable distance from land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them, walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." "Lord, if it's you," Peter replied, "tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, beginning to sink, cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You have little faith," he said. "Why did you doubt?" And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." Notice as Peter's focus wavered and doubt crept in, he began to sink. In that moment, Jesus reached out his hand and rescued Peter, teaching him the importance of unwavering faith, even in the face of adversity. Standing here, we also reflected on John 21, verse 11. After Jesus' resurrection, he appeared to his disciples while they were fishing, and they caught a large number of fish. When they brought the net ashore, they counted 153 fish. The significance of this number is not explicitly explained in the text, and various interpretations have been suggested over the years. Some believe it may represent the number of species of fish that existed at that time. Others consider it a specific and factual detail included in the account. While the exact meaning may remain uncertain, the narrative underscores the miraculous nature of the catch and reinforces the disciples' recognition of Jesus' divine presence. As we stand on the shores of Peter's Primacy, we can reflect on the profound lessons that unfolded here. It is a place where faith was tested, miracles were witnessed, and disciples were transformed. Peter's Primacy serves as a reminder of the power of faith in the boundless love and grace of Jesus. It invites us to reflect on our own journey and embrace the teachings of courage, trust, and unwavering belief. We continue on our journey to Capharnaum, a place where the echoes of Jesus' ministry can still be heard today. Join me as we delve into the fascinating history of this ancient city and discover its profound significance. After Jesus left Nazareth, he moved to Capernaum. He spent most of his ministry here in the home of Peter's mother-in-law. Capernaum was not only a home to Jesus during his ministry, but also a place where he performed astonishing miracles and delivered powerful teachings. Capernaum, being a significant location in Jesus' ministry, was a place where Jesus used everyday items and settings to teach profound spiritual lessons that the people could easily relate to. Here are a few examples of this approach. The region around Capernaum was known for its agricultural activities. Jesus frequently employed parables and analogies related to farming and agriculture to convey spiritual truths. For example, the parable of the sower in Matthew 13, verses 1 to 9, compares the scattering of seeds in different types of soil to the reception and growth of the word of Jesus in people's hearts. Capernaum likely had a bustling marketplace where people gathered to buy and sell goods. Jesus used the imagery of marketplaces and commercial transactions in his teachings. For instance, in Matthew 13:45 through 46, Jesus tells the parable of the pearl of great value, comparing the kingdom of heaven to a merchant seeking fine pearls. The natural surroundings of Capernaum, including the Sea of Galilee, provided a backdrop for Jesus' teachings. Jesus often drew on the elements of nature, such as birds, flowers, and trees, to illustrate spiritual principles and God's care for his creation. For example, in Matthew 6, verses 25 to 34, Jesus speaks about the birds of the air and the lilies of the field to encourage his followers not to worry, but to trust in God's provision. By using familiar elements from the daily lives of the people in Capernaum, Jesus made his teachings relatable and accessible, enabling the people to better grasp the profound spiritual truths he conveyed. Within these ruins lies the very synagogue where Jesus preached, captivating the crowds with his wisdom and authority. One of the oldest synagogues in the world, the large, ornately carved white building stones of the synagogue stand out prominently against the smaller, plain blocks of local black basalt used for the town's other buildings, almost all residential. The synagogue was built of white blocks of calcareous stone brought from distant quarries. The synagogue was built around the 4th or 5th century. Beneath the foundation of this synagogue lies another foundation made of basalt. This is probably the foundation of a synagogue from the 1st century, as mentioned in Luke's Gospel. The Capharnaum synagogue at the time of Jesus' ministry had been funded by a Roman centurion based there. The building consists of 4 parts: the praying hall with the southern face looking toward Jerusalem, the western patio, a southern balustrade, and a small room at the northwest of the building. Here we see residential ruins in Capharnaum. The building in the background is a church that was built over the house of the mother-in-law of Peter. This building, in 1990, replaced the 5th century church that was built to protect the house below. This is likely where Jesus spent most of his time. The home under the church. In the 4th century, a wall was built around this residence to protect the structure. Peter's name was found on a wall in this home. Meticulously excavated houses and structures give us a glimpse into the daily lives of the people who lived here during Jesus' time. The discoveries in Capernaum continue to shed light on the historical context in which Jesus carried out his mission, deepening our understanding of his teachings and significance of his miracle. This statue of Peter at Capernaum incorporates various elements that hold significant symbolism and represent important aspects of Peter's life and role within Christianity. In Peter's right hand, he is holding a key. This represents the kingdom of heaven, symbolizing the authority and leadership Jesus bestowed upon him. This originates from the biblical passage in Matthew 16, verses 18 to 19, where Jesus says to Peter, "I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven." Peter is standing on a rock, symbolizing his role as the rock upon which Jesus built his church. This symbolism refers to Jesus' words in Matthew 16:18, when he said, "You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church." These elements collectively convey the key aspects of Peter's life, including his humble origins, his appointment as the leader of the early Christian church, and his authority within the church. The statue serves as a visual reminder of Peter's important role in Christian history, the enduring legacy of his faith. Walking through the streets of Capernaum, you can almost imagine the scenes of Jesus healing the sick, calling his disciples, and revealing the depths of God's love to all who would listen. With the beautiful Sea of Galilee as a backdrop, Capernaum provides a serene setting that invites reflection and contemplation. As I thought about the miracles that Jesus performed, I couldn't help but ask for one for myself. I sat here under this tree by the beautiful Sea of Galilee and had another conversation with Jesus. I asked him to perform a miracle for me here, where he had performed so many miracles 2,000 years ago. I asked him to heal my feet. I have a birth defect in both feet. You may have noticed in the group pictures I am leaning on a cane. I have had so many surgeries over the years, 6 on my left foot and 7 on my right, and still was in pain. He told me he would heal me, but he said, "Not now, not here." I argued with him. Why not? His response was, "Tell the group." I told him I didn't want to tell the group, and if he was going to heal me, why not do it here and without me telling anyone? The only response was, "Tell the group." I, of course, continued to argue as we moved on to our next site. I know that arguing with the Holy Spirit may not be the best idea, but I really did not want to tell this group of strangers my life story. I knew he would heal me. He told me he would. I knew that what he was asking was not a big thing for me to do. I just didn't want to do it. As we continued on to the next location, I couldn't help but continue to argue, asking him to heal me without me telling the group. Continue watching this series to hear the rest of the story. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel and consider supporting me on Patreon. Your support enables me to continue sharing the love and light of Jesus. Don't forget to like this video and leave a comment below, sharing your thoughts and experiences. Thank you for joining me on this extraordinary journey at Peter's Primacy and in Capharnaum.